So we took another look at Cruisin' USA recently because I was unhappy with the original product. And it got me thinking, what other earlier videos could I look at and possibly revisit to bring up to my current standards? And oh boy, my MRC video is rough. Perhaps even more so than my original Cruisin' USA video.
It's Gran Turismo. But I digress. MRC has 10 cars for you to rally and drift around in.
If you want to experience it for yourself, go ahead, I'll wait. You back? Alright. I remember my goal with MRC was to try and sound more natural and less robotic, while also letting the game speak more for itself. And sure, my voiceover was a bit better, but not by much. The real issue was with my more relaxed approach, coupled with letting the game speak for itself. This philosophy just led to an extremely half-assed script, and I just glossed over my gripes without really explaining myself, and beyond that I didn't go into much detail at any point at all. So you know what? I want a do-over. Again. I hope you enjoy. I've always enjoyed a good rally game. Even though I know nothing about that world, bombing around in the dirt at blazing fast speeds, drifting around mountainous trails, and flying off dirt ramps in a video game has always been immensely fun to me. So naturally, I couldn't resist taking a look at MRC as it delivers on that fun. Well, kinda. MRC, or Multi-Racing Championship, was developed by Genki. Genki? Jinki? I'm gonna go with Genki. MRC was developed by Genki and released in 1997 only on the N64, which is weird because I think this would have made a great PS1 game, but then again it would have had to compete with games like Gran Turismo. Good luck with that, but I digress. MRC received a wide array of scores from critics of the day, all averaging to just under 70%. GameSpot found that the realistic handling forces players to slow down too much, concluding that MRC doesn't have the illusion of speed, making gameplay dull. This review kinda just makes me think that GameSpot didn't really understand what the game was going for. It wasn't trying to be Mario Kart, it was trying to be a simulation. Well, close to a simulation. Most critics really liked that you could customize your vehicle's performance to suit how you drive. They also seemed to like the different on- and off-road paths of races, but they didn't like the irritating announcer, something of which I can agree with. Other critics also noted that the graphics were decent but didn't impress them, which I find surprising. The graphics always made me think of MRC as a PS1 game masquerading as an N64 game. I don't know, the textures just seem more pixely and less blurry and stretched looking than typical N64 games, if that makes sense. In any case, I think the graphics are fine. You could definitely do a lot worse on the N64, that's for sure. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pumped to get into it. Again. Does anyone remember MRC? MRC has 10 cars for you to rally and drift around in, out of which 2 are hidden and you can unlock them by beating match mode twice. And each vehicle fits into one of 2 categories, off-road and drift, or on-road. That being said, they all have their own list of unique, customizable stats. And speaking of which, it's really cool how you can use sliders to tweak your car's performance. Not uncommon nowadays, but as a kid coming off Cruisin' USA, Mario Kart, and Diddy Kong Racing, this felt like space magic. You're able to customize everything from brake and tire pressure to aerodynamics and steering. These tweaks really make a difference in how your vehicle handles on certain surfaces. As such, the division between off-road and drift vehicles can get blurred. For example, you could say tune your drift vehicle in a way that it would perform decently on dirt roads, but, and at least in my experience, a tuned off-road vehicle will always outperform it, and vice versa. As I said, space magic. However, the major boon to this mechanic is that there's little to no incentive to adjust or play around with your tuning to prepare for for a challenging race, and this is due to the game's overall length, but I'll touch on that in a moment. But one thing's for sure, I really like how the cars look and feel to drive. Your car will bounce, tilt, and rock when you hit jumps, turn, and drift. This elevates the driving experience and makes it feel more authentic than it otherwise would. But the drifting is a little weird, and I could never quite figure it out as a kid, nor can I now. Here's how it works. Whether you initiate a drift or not, your car will most likely start sliding when you turn. This is fine, but here's the thing. You'll continue to slide until you take the game out for a movie, then treat it to a nice fancy dinner wherein you get it just tipsy enough to be a little loose with its morals, then you ask it for traction. Either that, or you just hit a wall, the latter of which is more likely. It's like you're on ice. If you tilt the stick while drifting, you essentially go straight into the wall, and if you stop tilting, your momentum will start to correct to whatever direction your car is facing, but that's seemingly never where you want to go. And again, you'll likely careen into a wall before any of this happens anyway. One last point on the drifting is that it's almost like the center of rotation on your car moves to the middle while you're drifting. Kinda like if you were to prop it on a Lazy Susan. So instead of having the back end of your car swing out, you just kind of awkwardly rotate. Again, like you're on a Lazy Susan. It's really hard to explain accurately, and you'd have to try it out for yourself to truly understand what I mean. MRC has 3 races to choose from, and I know what you're thinking. Only 3? That can't be right. But it is. There are only 3, along with unlockable mirrored versions, but I don't think they count. The courses are Seaside, Mountain, and Downtown, and granted, they're decent courses with a good amount of detail, but I and many others would have rather just had more unique tracks to bomb around in. This limitation is my one huge gripe with this game, and apparently it was a major complaint in '97 too. But let's take a closer look at them. Who knows, maybe this is one of those quality over quantity situations. First, we have Seaside. Sitting at an easy difficulty, this is a fun course with lots of wide open roads and not many incredibly sharp turns, allowing you to really floor it and blast around the track relatively carefree. The off-road sections are definitely the more interesting routes. One weird thing I've noticed is that I always lose traction when exiting this tunnel, despite not turning too much. I've tried it with a few different cars and it seems to always happen, and I have no idea why. Next up is Mountain. Now this one is, in my opinion, the best track out of the 3. It has awesome weather effects, amazing off-road sections, and a great deal of variation, from snowy and foresty sections to a river jump and a quaint little village. I always feel as though I'm racing down the mountain in this race, despite that not being the case. The third and final track is Downtown, and man can this one be difficult. Your choices really matter in which route you take. My rule of thumb is to avoid the on-road sections because these are where the sharpest turns are. And if you want to win, the waterfall shortcut is almost mandatory. This level isn't so much about being the best driver on the course, it's more about making the right choices at the many forks in the road. Some routes are clearly faster than others, so after racing around the track once and losing, retry and turn the other way at every fork. Chances are you'll win. Or you'll absolutely demolish this level. There's no in between, either it's difficult or it's easy. 2 of my playthroughs were with the exact same car. The first time, it took several tries to beat Downtown after beating the other 2 with 0 issue. The second time, Mountain gave me a bit of a run for my money, while the other 2 were easy as all hell. But if you find yourself with enough time to wipe the dust and mud off your windscreen and look around, you'll notice this game has dynamic weather and a full day-night cycle. The only downside is that the races are usually over far before the sun starts to set. I mean, you can change the amount of laps you race, but after 3 laps you're either losing or about to lap the person in last place, so there's no point. The dynamic weather, on the other hand, seems to change at the drop of a hat, and I love it. Sure, it kinda looks like shit sometimes, but man, it really adds to the experience. Nothing gets my rocks off quite like dynamic weather. Another irritating thing, and we mentioned this above, is the announcer. He just never shuts up. He tells you what type of turn is coming up. This would be useful if that information wasn't already flashing in the middle of my screen. Not to mention, he's barely audible, so I'm not going to hear the callouts anyway. He also says, "ow," whenever you crash. It's like racing with a toddler bouncing around in the backseat, just saying the most random and annoying shit ever. Shut up and let me drive. Anyway, that's MRC's 3 levels, and after that grueling 15 minutes of gameplay, it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy this bizarre gold medal ceremony. Now, you and I both know it wouldn't be a rally game without bombastic, terrible, good, awesome, fucking horrendous techno tunes. Seriously, the soundtrack makes me want to buy a bunch of glow sticks and body glitter, get over caffeinated, and rave till my feathers fall off. Man, doesn't it just make the ears bleed so good? Well, there isn't really a whole lot else to say about MRC. I think this game's biggest issue is that there just isn't enough of it, and that's the saddest part too. This game almost had all the right things to make it a very amazing and memorable N64 game. Sure, the HUD is intrusive and the drifting is frustrating, but most of what's actually there is pretty damn good. And in terms of racing games on the N64, you could do better, sure, but you could definitely do a lot worse. One thing's for sure though, I won't be forgetting this one anytime soon. But what about all of you? Did you remember MRC, or did you skip it entirely? I wouldn't blame you if you did. And did you play this game with that weird steering wheel controller? Let me know. As for me, I'm out. I'm already late for my extreme underwater crochet class, but before I go, I want to thank you for watching till the end, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.